So just to tell you guys a little bit about me, I appreciate everything James said and all my great friends and colleagues that have come to speak today. Again, these are unpaid speakers. They are here because they're friends of mine. And I really want to give back something to our local community. So I do tons of traveling, I go to other events, and I really wanted to host something here in Bradenton. So my office is about 2 blocks down the street. Appreciate all my team being here and everyone else. So I started in real estate like most people. I fought the first year to sell 10 houses. I know I was working, at the time I was single, so it was a little easier. So working 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, whatever it takes. Just guilted everyone that knew me. If they still wanted to stay friends, they had to use me. I just made everyone use me the first year. So I knew that wasn't the answer, right? I was like, this is way too hard and I can't maintain this. Then I met my now husband, who moved me. So now I'm like, I know nobody, had to restart over again. And very grateful and thankful that we did. I have my daughters here too, and my grandson. So if you hear someone crying in the background, I'm like, yes, bring him. Bring my grandson. Okay, so now our team, we're building a mega team. So Grant and Amber are actually my coaches, my real estate coaches. You always have to have good mentors, good people that we're following their leadership. So we have just started building and growing. We sold about 300 homes last year, which was a record year for us in a down market. But this next year, he's challenging me to do 500. So we'll see how that goes. No pressure, guys. We got a lot of work to do. So we really want to grow. But our job really is to help hundreds of families. It's way bigger than real estate. It's not just transactions, right? We're in a very specific industry that changes lives. So we don't want to take that lightly. It's really important. And I think I do about 10 Canvas a month. I don't know, I do 2 or 3 trainings a week. And instead of using those, I decided to make something new for this event. So I don't have it memorized. But one thing I really wanted to share, because we have people from different backgrounds here, solo agents, team leaders, all over the board, so I want to have something impactful for everybody, is that I really want to focus on collaboration over competition. So I think the old way of doing business was that we were fighting over listings, right? Like, oh, I can't talk to him. Oh, Greg, we're on a competing team. He's going to take that listing, or I am. So it was always very competitive, and I just want to think a lot bigger than that. And there's lots of changes happening in our industry that I think we have to. I think we're being forced to focus local because we have people, very large companies, publicly traded companies, with lots of backing behind them that are really starting to come into our local marketplace. So it's even more important now that we work together and collaborate. So some of the threats to the industry, I think it's really important that we pay attention to what's happening. So if you guys follow, hopefully, some market watch and some news in real estate, that's our business, we should be paying attention. There's a lot of things that are happening and consolidations that are happening, and what does that mean? What does that mean for us? And what does that mean for our business? I was at a mastermind about, maybe 7 or 8 years ago in Sarasota with other team leaders, and we're talking about iBuyers had just come out. And I'm like, man, this is a big threat to our industry. And everyone's like, oh, no one's going to take less money for their home. Nobody's going to take a cash offer, right? They were like, everyone boo-booed everything I said. I'm like, I'm telling you, this is a really big threat to our marketplace. And as you guys know, that did happen. So they took a huge part of our business. So Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow had attempted it but failed. Redfin, I don't know if they're going to do it again. But it really made a big difference just in expectations of our marketplace. So when they're seeing all over the news or they're seeing all over their commercials, different advertising saying, hey, cash for your home, don't need a realtor, save on commissions, and we don't think that's going to affect how people look at us, it definitely has. So iBuyers is kind of something, it's luckily since our market has plenty of inventory now, it's not as impactful as it was, but I just want to compare that when they came out to compete with us, it did impact our business. So number one, it was competition for listings. So if they're getting an instant cash offer, why would they list with me where they have to be out of their house? It has to be perfect all the time. We're going to list it for all these strangers to walk around your home. Or you can take the cash offer and close on your terms and when you want, right? Obviously, that's a very much more attractive offer. So what we have to do, number one, we have to recognize sellers, they considered them. I think at one point they sold 1,500 homes in 1 year through an iBuyer program. That's a pretty big, impactful to our market. Last year it was about 450. So the market has shifted, but that's still, and this is just in our county, not the state of Florida, just locally. So now we want to just kind of think about realtors are not just competing with each other, now we're literally competing with a corporate offer on the table, right? That makes a big difference too. So the listings became more competitive. I think the biggest threat is that sellers' expectations changed. So now they want things that are hassle-free. They want things right now and immediately. Where's my offer? Why do I have people looking at my house? They haven't written an offer yet. Where's my offers? right? Ooh, that's a fun conversation to have. So as we're seeing those kind of shifts in the marketplace, just know that we have to adapt with them too. So we can't ignore them, pretend they're not there, keep doing things the way we've been doing them. We have to change the way we've been doing things. So we do know that iBuyer offers. You also should be offering them as real estate agents. So you guys can also offer cash offers. We have a database of lots of investors that would pay cash for homes. So just make sure you guys are also putting your hat in the ring there. Plus, I think we've got a lot of pressure on commissions and negotiation. You really have to show your worth, right? They can take a cash offer without a realtor. Maybe, obviously, the number's not great this year, but let's say it's $250,000. They're taking the $250,000 versus listing with me for $400,000. And it's pretty shocking that that's happening on such a big scale. So we have to make sure that when we're talking to sellers, we're addressing that and that we're giving them the value in why they should be working with us. So the relationship value, marketing, negotiation is going to be something we really have to focus on and emphasize. So the long-term effects, I think, from iBuyers is that now the market wants speed, right? They want transparency. They want tech-driven valuations. So you got to make sure your websites are giving a number immediately. That's what they expect, or they're going to go somewhere else to get it. So if they can go to Zillow and say, what's my Zestimate, right? We know how accurate those are. Make sure your web page has, type in your address, find out what your home is worth. So you got to make sure that we're also putting out those messages so that they come to our site versus going to those big companies. So some solo agents may struggle if they're ignoring the iBuyer competition. So we just want to make sure that you're always using this to help us grow in market share, because they're, like I said, really taking over a lot of our business. Has anyone ever tried putting their house into OfferPad? I know Josh has. Yeah, if you guys tried it, it's really easy. So you can put in your address. It says start here. You upload a couple photos. It takes all the information from tax records. You don't have to say how many bedrooms or square footage. It fills it in. And then it goes right to an as-is state of Florida contract that they e-sign. Like, I just sold my house. Okay, right? So we have to make sure that we're creating these kind of tools on our websites too. We have to make things that are just as easy to work with and make sure that we're giving that same message. Same thing with Redfin. I know they have a low listing fee, save your money. All this kind of marketing is what they're seeing in the marketplace. So how to separate yourself? You have to be also offering something similar. So I just ran a report from the last year, so I was surprised only 450 homes, but $150 million was lost through these iBuyer programs that would have been one of you, hopefully, one of the realtors in this room. Number 2, real estate is actually shifting. So instead of it being a relationship business, it used to be that, if somebody farmed a neighborhood or, hey, I live in that condo complex, I am the easy choice, right? I sell everything in this condo. It was all based on relationships. Now it's a data and capital business. So like I said, there's some really big companies, publicly traded companies with Wall Street backing that are in our local marketplace. So I'll give you a couple examples of those, but they're all investor controlled. And so realtors are really shifting to being customer acquisition engines for Wall Street. Think about that versus a relationship, your neighborhood realtor that lives in the same complex. So Redfin was purchased by Rocket Mortgage. That was something, I think I was at an event in California, and the Redfin guy was there. I'm like, avoiding his booth. I'm like, I don't like that guy. I feel like they really changed our marketplace because what they did is said that we're all just commodities and door openers. So you go to Redfin, you type in the address, your Uber driver will meet you there and let you in for $20. So they were paying, I don't know what it was, let's say $25 per door. They really commoditized us as realtors, but now they've teamed up with Rocket Mortgage, so just know that there's a lot of changes happening, of course, because of that. UpNest was another marketing source that we had, if you guys have used it, but their whole kind of market was that when agents compete, you win. So immediately, the minute that you picked an agent on there, they would fight and lower their commissions. Like, oh, this is a fun website. I'd love to be a part of this. So Realtor.com has purchased them. So now they have a new, again, big partnership with a data company. Of course, Zillow is probably the biggest in our industry. And in case you don't know, they now own all these software companies. So we went to a Zillow conference in Vegas. And I went, oh, wow. Okay. So Spruce is their new title company. They have their own mortgage company. They own showing time. So in order to schedule showings for our listings, they're in that information. They own Dotloop. So now they know all the buyer, seller, title, mortgage in our area. And then they purchase Follow Up Boss. So that's all the consumers in our marketplace. So if we're ignoring Zillow and what they're doing, we're really missing the boat. So what they've started doing, they used to do Premier Agent, which I was a part of for years and years, where you would pay for a lead. So they would say, hey, I have Bob in Bradenton looking to purchase a home next 3 months, this price point, and I would call them back and I'd convert it into a customer. which was great. Their prices continued to increase. So as it got more and more competitive, I think I was spending $1,000 per lead when we finally finished doing that program. Now they've turned it into Flex. So now Flex is kind of the new local thing, and it's an invite only, and there's already partnerships established. So if you're not part of it, you won't be. So Florida was one of their main markets they came in and made some big shifts to. So Zillow, of course, they own the hearts and minds of our customers. So they actually went through and purchased every address, because they are a data company. Every address is preloaded into Zillow with a landing page, so before it goes on the market, they already dominate the Google search for that address before it's listed. So again, would be very, very hard to compete. So you either need to partner with companies, because as a solo agent, it'd be very difficult to compete with them. Amazon would like to do it. So Amazon has got a program. You can just buy a house online, ship it to your door. I don't know how that's going to work, but Amazon, I mean, that's a big competitor that wants to get in our space. Meta, of course. So we used to use Facebook Marketplace as a big marketing tool for listings. Well, now they're just going to do it themselves, right? They'll just show the homes and you buy them through Meta. So if you think you have a lot of friends, I bet you they have more. They have access to more. So number 3, brokerages are also becoming financial and tech platforms. So if you're watching the news, you're probably seeing there's lots of different changes happening there too. So I wanted to let you know what that means. It's not only just commission companies. So, there used to be 5 or 6, different real estate franchises down the street, local. Now they're all combining or being purchased. So I can guarantee you that's going to be making a big difference pretty soon. So Compass just recently purchased all of these other brands. So Compass, being a data company, they have a lot of technology and a good back end, where maybe a Better Homes and Gardens, maybe their stuff is kind of older. So they came in and now they purchased all those companies and they've combined. Keller Williams too had a shift with CoreLogic, another big tech company, has purchased ownership with Keller Williams too. So we're going to see, how a lot of these things kind of play out, but I want to make sure you guys are aware of them and paying attention. Number 4, agent independence is going to shrink. So as we have these really large firms, these big corporate companies, does anyone work corporate America? Oof. Yes, fun, right? So I used to work in healthcare before real estate. And what's going to happen, of course, things are going to change. If they're going to buy a business for $1.5 trillion, I guarantee you it's because they intend on making more money than that. So there's going to be some shifting with commissions. Prices will probably go up. And then I think agents are going to be more of revenue producers than business owners. So they don't need a business owner for the franchise. They came in, they buy, they own everybody, and now you just work for corporate America, right? It's a big shift. So why does it matter? So maybe you see this stuff and you're like, oh, I don't care. That's got nothing to do with me. I'm working for a different broker. It's not going to affect me. Not true, because number 1, they're definitely going to take a huge part of market share. So they are at scale at a huge company, and these larger combined brokerages, they're going to invest more in technology, marketing, and agent support. So if I used to be a solo brokerage, I don't know how I would ever compete with that, right? They're actually owned by the data companies. Competitive pressure, so all the times of these national mergers, it just makes it harder to compete and do strategic deals as an independent agent, right? It's going to be tough. The options, of course, while agents benefit from scale and tech, they're also going to join or build strong independent brands to help regain things locally. So what's our main advantage that we have that they don't? We live here, right? Relationships. We live here, we network. Somebody's going to want to know about my community that I live in. Right? So that's going to be a really big competitive factor. There are also some other dangers that face our industry based on realtors. So how is it possible that all these tech companies could have came in underneath us and taken over our business like this? How did this happen, right? Number 1, I think it's because masses of marginal agents have ruined our reputation. So lots of incompetent agents now make us all think, oh, you're just a realtor. I remember my husband and I moved into a new neighborhood, and I'm like, oh, they're all going to say, what do you do? Oh, I'm in real estate. They're great. You're going to want us all to sell your house with you. Immediately, I'm like, oh, geez. I said, I'm a real estate coach. I do training. Okay, that's different. Number 2, our industry doesn't train agents. So all of the training I've gotten from James, he was one of the guys who got me going in the business when I first moved here and knew nobody. It's because the training is outside of our area. I'm not getting it from our local association. I think I block all those emails. I'm not going to get any benefit from that. So it's not local. It's usually some coaching that comes from outside sources, and it's from people that have done it before. So it's really hard to buy coaching from someone who doesn't sell homes. I really want to work with people in the business today seeing success. And it's expensive, but that's how most of people get their their training. And 73% of consumers don't trust us. I'm like, oh, great, right? So we train with our team. We're like, just, it's okay. Don't get offended. It's not personal. They don't trust you before you got there. It's not you. Brendan, you're awesome. I know you're a good guy, but they don't trust us, right? So because of so many bad experiences from other realtors or something else that's happened in the business, we hear this a lot. So unfortunately, the marketplace is kind of trying to replace us because they're like, they don't do anything anyway. And then I love this poor lady. So that was me when I first started. So I just remember that I was left corporate and I come into real estate and I go, well, who answers the phones? Oh, that's your cell phone you put on the sign. So I answer it. Okay. Well, who talks to title and gets all the paperwork? Oh, that's me. Okay, great. So I negotiate the deal. I'm customer service. I'm sales. I'm the social media influencer. I'm like, man, this is really impossible. So we wonder why so many agents fail. I like the stats that Grant and Amber gave. It's like kind of shocking, but if you're the one who's putting on the lock boxes and then you're in charge for marketing and you get a closing at 2, what kind of service are we giving to our clients? We're running around like a crazy person. So I had a friend of mine, I helped her sell a house and then she got into real estate. She's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this is what you did. I'm like, I know, I'm crazy. I don't know why I do this. So the average agent's, broke, unfortunately. So we wonder why we get a low level of service from other realtors. It's because most likely it's a part-time job. They have to pay their bills, right? They have to make an income somewhere. So unfortunately, this is kind of what our average agent is. They sell 4 homes a year. I know last year was a really tough year for most agents. Not respected, not trusted, mostly part-time, only interested in the sale. If you ever had that experience when you're with the other agent and you're like, man, you could care less what's going on with this customer's life. It has to close on Friday for you to pay rent. Like you can feel that kind of commission breath. So that's not good. They're not knowledgeable, not positioned as an expert, and just viewed as a commodity. Like, I'm going to buy the house I want to buy. You're there, great. You're at the open house. I guess I'll buy it from you, right? They don't see any difference in us. They don't see any value in what we offer. So we definitely have to work on that. The reason for this, I believe, the barrier to entry is just very low. So it's $200, takes 2 weeks, online course, right? It's pretty easy to get into the business. I was talking to my hairdresser. She goes, oh man, I can't, I got to go to school. I have to start dyeing hair. I have to mentor under somebody. I have to do all these things just to be in the hair business. I was like, oh man, not realtors. You go negotiate a couple $100,000 deals. You'll figure it out, right? You'll figure it out. No big deal. They're poorly trained. I don't like the 100% brokerages because they just offer no value. Like, we're okay that you don't know what you're doing. Just go out there and make mistakes with people's lives. Ugh. So I think that really has really hurt us. And then the race to the bottom, commissions. So the problem that we're struggling with is that there's no consistent level of service. This is something I learned when I first got into my first brokerage. I'm like, well, if something's going on in my life, my daughter's getting married this weekend, my service isn't great because it's me and a cell phone. I don't know how many times my husband loves to cruise and we're on the cruise and I'm going under the Tampa Bridge. I'm like, oh no, I can't lose service. Negotiating a listing, like, what am I doing? So it's just not fair, and it really sets people up for failure. No clear marketing message. You go through the books, all the real estate books, everyone's number one, everyone's top producer. There's not really a clear marketing message. Every agent out for themselves. I think when I first started, I had a friend of mine in real estate. We went to happy hours all the time. She stole my client when I was on vacation. That was very nice. So the life of a realtor, 87% quit in the first 3 years or don't make it. So the turnover is really high. So this is why they don't take us seriously. So when I say, well, I'm a realtor, like, yeah, I know. So was my yoga teacher. My sister tried it. I tried it for a couple years, right? It's just not taken very seriously. I can say the average agent doesn't have a business plan, doesn't have mentorship when deals get hard. They feel alone, overwhelmed, and unsure of what to do next. Oof, how does that feel for your customer? You're feeling that way, that's absolutely going to pass along to the people that you're helping. So how it should be, the job of the buyer's agent, number one, you should be the local market expert. So instead of doing all the things and all the hats, your main focus really needs to be on knowing the market, knowing the inventory, knowing the financing options. That's why we partner with our mortgage company to know what's happening. So we should always have certainty, because when we have that expertise, then things happen faster. So on our team, we'll talk about when a new customer comes in, we want to get them under contract in 2 weeks. I'm like, that's an agent that knows their market. It's not that you're a pushy realtor. It's because you listen to your customer, you know exactly what they're looking for, and you know how to help them. And you get it faster. Do you think customers like you more or less the longer you work with them? 6 months in the business with them, did they still like you? Probably not. They're looking at you like you're failing them. Like, what are you doing? We still haven't found a house. I guess I'll just rent. I guess I'm not moving here, right? There's a problem. So we really want to have that kind of expertise. And then number 2 should be building rapport and long-term relationships. To have a real estate career, you need relationships. Do a good job by one person, and your career will last, and it will continue to grow into a very successful one. So the gap between what consumers think we do and what we actually do. Does anyone watch HGTV? Right? And I still watch them. Jerry's like, why are you watching real estate? So silly. But there's a big gap there. So one of the first things that we do when we meet a client is we tell them what we do for them. Here's what I do, and here's my value, and here's why it matters, right? Because they don't know. They think that all we do is show pretty houses, we drive nice cars, and we make tons of money, and we don't work very hard, right? Unfortunately. So we got to make sure that we're educating them that's not really what we do. All right, so what can we do about this? So big companies we know are coming in. They can scale systems, they can scale data, they can compete with marketing dollars that we couldn't do. I don't know what Zillow pays, but I know just us, we pay them $100,000 a month, and we're one little team. So it would be impossible for us to compete against them. So instead, our job as a great team member is to scale relationships. And that's going to be the difference. Because Zillow might have a great brand, but who's the person behind Zillow? I don't know. What was that one MySpace? There was like the one guy, Tom, your only friend, Tom. You know, like, oh, that's Tom. We know him. But with Zillow, they're just a brand. They're just a company. No one knows who they are, but they do know who Christine is, right? So really focusing on those relationships is how we're going to continue to compete. And then I believe collaboration over competition within our own sphere. I mean, this is why I invited everyone here. I think it's so important, like we as a group can compete. You know, I can't compete with Brendan, who's going to compete with Christine. That wouldn't work. But if we all work together, we really take over the Bradenton, Sarasota. I got some Cape Coral friends here. The other areas, Tampa, sorry. So we do have some areas that are nearby here, but it's really important that in order for us to compete, we don't want to go it alone. So it's way riskier than it used to be. So why does collaboration win? Because we have shared knowledge, market insights. We're going to know what they don't know. So Zillow has estimates. And we knew they weren't accurate. It almost broke them doing cash offer programs because they were so inaccurate. So there's market insight that we know that they would not be able to compete with. And having stronger networks and more referrals. So collaboration is always going to turn into business. I know my husband's really good at building relationships. He doesn't know a stranger. So if we're going down to the pool at the clubhouse, I know we're going to pick up 2 or 3 clients while we're there. So really important to build those strong relationships so that you don't have to focus on cold calling and the things that don't work. Last thing is also better client experience. So really important that clients have 5-level experience because then they will use you again. And if we focus our efforts on just 2 things, get really good at a buyer's agent on the 2 things that matter and not all the things that for some reason we're expected to do. And then local strength against big players. So iBuyers, national brokerages, they just rely on scale, not on relationships. So get really good at earning people's trust. So a competition mindset would be, I need to beat that agent, right? I got to take over their business, and we got to work harder, and I'm going to get that listing over them. Where collaborations, if we work together, we can win more listings, serve more clients, and grow our business faster. So it would be a mindset shift for what real estate is today, but I think it's so important. So very important who you partner with, right? So get a coach, get a mentor. You have a great opportunity. Grant said he's going to give away a free coaching. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? There's a lot of people in that room, but really important that you surround yourself with the right people that are going to help you grow. So those partnerships are important. And then team agents do more sales. So most agents focus on splits. They don't focus on scale, right? So if the average agent sells 4 homes a year, our team, I think it was 27 homes a year, abundance is always going to beat scarcity every time. And I like how Peter talked a lot about faith. It's so important, but there's enough out there for everybody. We just got to do a better job of it. So if you're a solo agent trying to compete in today's marketplace, I would love to collaborate, work with you guys. Scan this. We have our free playbook that talks a little bit about what's important and how you're going to be able to compete with a lot of these big companies. So that's important. And for some people that are team, how many people are team leaders here? Who's got their own team? Awesome. Yes. Love that. Okay. So for team leaders, I also want to offer another course. And it's pretty much if you are a top producer and you want to build into a mega team. So I quickly learned that having a small team doesn't work. I think our profit margins are like 4%, having under 10 agents. So the bigger that you get, the more you can succeed as well. So I am doing a course if you want to become that mega team. I think we have 55 agents now. We're going to have 100 before the end of the year. So we're looking to really scale and build a big mega team, and we'd love to partner with anyone else who's trying to build a mega team, because again, we want to collaborate. It's the only way that we're going to be able to really build something. That's it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.